It's been 3 years, and you still remember exactly what she said to you in that hallway. That's not a broken memory. It's a specific, well-documented pattern with a name most people have never heard. You've probably done this about a conversation from this week, too. In this video, 7 quiet reasons your brain won't let certain conversations go, especially the last one. Number 1. It's never the whole conversation. It's one exact moment, a pause, a word, a look, running on a loop. Not because that moment was the worst part of your day. Your brain is running a threat scan. Psychologists call this negativity bias, and there's a well-known paper on it literally titled, "Bad is Stronger Than Good." One bad note gets weighed far more heavily than a dozen ordinary ones around it, so out of 20 completely normal minutes, a good laugh, an easy stretch of small talk, a compliment you barely registered, your brain quietly archives the one moment that felt slightly off. And it doesn't just file it away. It plays that single frame back for you, on repeat, at full volume, while the other 19 minutes fade like they never happened. Which raises the real question. Replaying it for what, exactly? Number 2. It's rarely about what you actually said. It's about what they might have thought of you for saying it. There's a real term for this: post-event processing. Psychologists Clark and Wells described it decades ago. The habit of mentally rerunning a social interaction afterward, searching for evidence of how you came across. You replay your own sentence, but really you're replaying it from an imagined seat inside their head, trying to read an expression you only half saw in the moment. Did their smile look real? Did that pause mean something? The problem is, the search has no finish line. You can't access what was actually happening in their head. Only your guess about it, run through a dozen different tones of voice. So the replay loops. Not because you're stuck on the moment, but because you're stuck trying to solve something that was never solvable from your side alone. Number 3. And this is the distinction almost nobody makes. Not all replaying is the same replaying. Psychologist Susan Nolan Huxema spent her career studying the difference between rumination and reflection. Reflection asks a question and eventually answers it. What would I do differently? And then it's done. Rumination just asks, why did I say that, on a loop, without ever landing anywhere. Same raw material, the same 3 seconds of footage, completely different outcome. You can spend 10 minutes on one and walk away lighter, genuinely done with it. You can spend an entire evening on the other, checking the same 3 seconds from every angle, and end up right back where you started, just more tired. Here's the tell. If replaying a moment ever makes you feel a little steadier afterward, that was reflection. If it just leaves you more tired, more wound up than when you started, that one was rumination. And rumination alone was never going to close the loop for you, no matter how many more passes you give it. Number 4. The replay hits harder after some people than others, and it's not random. If you grew up needing to carefully track one particular person's mood, a parent, a certain teacher, someone whose disapproval actually cost you something, your brain built a fast lane for reading that kind of reaction. It had to. Missing the warning signs back then had real consequences. Years later, a stranger's flat tone barely registers. You forget it by lunch. But the wrong look from someone who reminds you of that person, even a little, can trigger a full replay by evening. 3 sentences, turned over 50 different ways. Your friends might genuinely not understand why this particular person gets under your skin so much more than anyone else. They're not reading the same signal you are because they never had to learn it. It's not that you're overreacting, it's that some circuits were built under higher stakes than others, and they never got the memo that the stakes changed. Number 5. And this is where it stops being just in your head in the way people mean that. It's in your head in a very literal sense. Neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger found that social pain, rejection, embarrassment, being misread, activate some of the same brain regions as physical pain. The dorsal anterior cingulate cortex doesn't fully distinguish a harsh comment from a real injury. That's why "it's just words" never actually helps in the moment, no matter how many times someone says it to you. Your nervous system didn't get a memo distinguishing the two. It responded the same way it would to a real, physical threat, because as far as an older part of your brain is concerned, it basically was one, which means that hallway moment from 3 years ago didn't just feel bad the way a memory feels bad. For a second, some part of your brain treated it like an actual wound, worth flinching from, worth remembering exactly how it happened so it doesn't happen the same way twice. No wonder it left a scar worth checking on. Number 6. It's not only recent conversations. Sometimes it's one from years ago, completely out of nowhere. That's because the record was never closed. Nothing forced your brain to resolve it. No apology, no clarifying text, no do-over. It just got shelved, still technically open, still waiting on an answer that never came. A completely unrelated moment today, a similar tone of voice, a similar hallway, even a similar smell, can reach back and reopen a file that was never actually finished, sometimes without you noticing what triggered it. 1 second you're fine, the next you're back in that exact hallway, 3 years gone in an instant. It's not a haunting, even though it can feel exactly like one. It's an old tab that never got closed, and your brain still checks it sometimes. The same way you'd glance back at a browser tab you forgot to save, just to make sure nothing important got lost. Number 7. And this is the part that changes how the other 6 should feel. It seems like your brain is obsessed with the past, stuck replaying something that's already over, that can't be changed no matter how many times you run it. It isn't stuck at all. It's updating a model. Every replay is your brain quietly asking, is this person safe? Is this situation safe? What do I do differently if this comes up again? And filing the answer away for next time. That's also why the replaying rarely stops the instant the conversation ends. It keeps running quietly in the background until the model feels finished, however long that takes. An hour, a week, sometimes years. The conversation already happened. The replaying was never really about it. It's about the version of you that has to walk into the next room. So if you've been replaying something for weeks or years, that doesn't mean you're broken or dramatic or stuck in the past. It means a very old, very literal part of your brain is still doing the exact job it was built to do, faithfully, whether you asked it to or not. The fastest way to actually close a loop isn't more replaying. It's writing down what you were afraid it meant about you, and then writing down what you actually know to be true instead. 2 short lists side by side. Not to argue with yourself, just to finally let your brain see both at once, which is usually the one thing endless replaying never actually gives it. That single page does more than another 20 replays ever will. If this explained the conversation you're replaying right now, send it to the person who does the same thing. And if it described you, the replaying was never proof that something is wrong with you. It was proof that something once mattered enough to protect. That's worth its own kind of respect, not another 20 replays tonight. Subscribe to Psychology Untangled for more psychology, explained simply.